Hey everyone, Voodoo here. So Blizzard with the 10.1 patch notes has actually come through and done a lot of buffs to the embellishment items in the game. So in this video, we'll be going over some of the recent developments in embellishment stuff for Havoc, as well as Vengeance Demon Hunter towards the end. So stick in and stay tuned for that. So for those wondering, these are the 10.1 patch notes, and these specifically are the changes I was going to talk about and are specifically important here. So there's a few things that I want to talk about. A, they're changing some healing potions and stuff, but B, they're going through and they are buffing basically every single embellishment we haven't used yet. So there's lots here, stuff we don't use, Frostbite Belt, all like the Plague Boots are being buffed, all the Snow Boots, Flaring Cowl's buffed, the set bonus is buffed, there's like a Tome damage, a lot of stuff's being buffed, even like the things down here, Fang Adornments, Bronze Grip Wrappings, Blue Silken Lining Mastery. So there's a lot of things that are going to be buffed, there's a few new things as well. So this has caused a pretty sizable shakeup to the embellishment meta, so to speak, for both Havoc and Vengeance Demon Hunter. So we're going to jump over and into the PTR and talk about that. Before we do, of course, if you enjoy the content, hit the like button, drop a comment down below which of these you think is the most interesting. And if you really enjoyed it, hit the sub button. We're over 5,000 now, so let's keep pushing that up through 10.1. I'll have tons of content. And if you really enjoy it, scroll down, link in the description, become a channel member. So with that, let's jump into PTR. All right, I lied. We're actually going to show you Sims first. So these are Havoc Sims. We'll do Havoc first. I'll touch on Vengeance at the end. So this, shout out to Bees and Remnant from the Havoc Demon Hunter Discord for doing a lot of the legwork here. These are the more up-to-date Sims. There are other Sims as well. But basically, long story short, you can see here multiple thousands of DPS gains from new combinations here. The two main ones we're going to talk about today are Spore Colony Shoulder Guards and the Toxic Boots. Slimy Boots are good as well. But personally, Toxic Boots are just a little bit better, and they also have the benefit of proccing our Igneous Flowstone Trinket. Now you can see here, these things sim significantly better than a lot of other stuff. Now, I will say Spore Colony Shoulder Guards are simming very well, but in-game, they seem to be doing much less DPS and much less damage than are happening in the Sims. So that is still a little bit under investigation. So when I talk about what to craft and stuff at the end, just keep that in mind. So they're over-simming a bit. Toxic Boots, though, are performing very, very well, and this is kind of what we're going to focus on today when I swap back over to the PTR, which is what I should have done originally. So we're on PTR now, for real this time. So I don't have a neck, because I just haven't crafted one on PTR, and I'm lazy. I only have my Lariat, so it's like whatever. But you can see here, I have my Toxic Thorn Foot Wraps. So these, basically, the thorns feed off your vitality, which reduces your stamina, and then your spells and abilities have a chance to launch magical thorns at your target, healing allies for 21,000, or striking enemies for 12,000 damage. And then these effects are increased by 100% if you equip Toxified Armor Patch, which is another embellishment you put on something else. So these boots are pretty cool. They have good stats for us, Critical Strike and Haste, which is very, very important. They do have pretty strong single target damage proc, which we'll get to in a second here. They can only go on the boots. It's not like other things where you can put them wherever you want. These are only boots items. And you combine those with the Toxified Armor Patch. You can see here, this item is infused with the power of decay. And that doubles everything on the Toxic Thorn Foot Wrap. So it doubles how much stamina you lose, doubles how much healing the darts do, and doubles how much damage the darts do. Now, it says target, so as long as you're not targeting allies, the healing part will never proc. It'll only be the damage part, so that's just good to keep in mind. But realistically, these boots just do so much damage. They're pretty good. Now, the Spore Colony Shoulder Guards, I have somewhere in my bags. Okay, we'll just swap stuff out using the gear score stuff. So these are the Spore Colony Shoulder Guards right here. So this one is an on-equip. They also have good stats for us. Dealing damage with spells and abilities has a chance to apply a stack of ever-decaying spores. At 5 stacks, the spores decay and inflict 37,000 nature damage over 10 seconds. And sometimes the spores will decay immediately, so you'll lose a stack and inflict 3,000 nature damage to you. And those effects, so the damage and the damage you take, are doubled when you have Toxified Armor Patch. Now, I think the reason this might be over-simming is because it might not be valuing like the spores decaying and dealing damage to you as properly as it should be. It's hard to say. I haven't looked too deep into the Sims myself, but they are supposedly over-simming from how they are performing in-game. But I think from here, the best thing to do is just to go in and do a little bit of testing for y'all. Now, there is one more thing I wanted to mention. These are the Infurious Foot Wraps of Indemnity. This is a PvP thing. Successfully applying a loss of control effect to an enemy, interrupting an enemy, or dispelling any target increases your primary stat by 510 for 10 seconds, and this may occur once every 30 seconds. Now, these are simming very well, but it's a bit of a sim bait So do keep that in mind. It requires you to proc them on CD every single time. These might be okay in Mythic Plus, but these will never be good in Raid. It's just not valuable enough. And honestly, even in Mythic Plus, it depends on how much, like, the value you'll get out of it will depend. So figured I'd mention it. They are looking pretty good on Sims, so just keep in mind for that as we move forward. So we're going to start off with Toxic Thorn Foot Wraps. We'll do some quick tests over on this dummy here. So we'll reset this data and make sure I'm in. We'll just go single target for now. So these boots are hasted, which is pretty important. Oh, I actually don't have the new build up. So this is one of those things where us having haste actually does end up increasing our value for some of the new like pieces we're getting in the next tier. So haste is going to get better. We have a lot of items that are going to be hasted, a lot of procs of damage that will be hasted. So these boots being hasted are pretty good. I believe it's a 4 RPPM, so 4 rated proc per minute plus haste, so you can get a little bit more with that. All right, we will end it there. So if you look at my breakdown here, we can see launch thorns are actually doing a lot of damage, 7.9% or 8% of my damage in total. About the same as like an I-beam or a melee. So this is actually pretty strong. Now, these can crit as well. You can see I crit one off the beginning there. Look at right here. Crit those there. These did a little bit less. So know your enemy can affect these. See, our average normal hit is 37,000. Average critical hit is 83,000. So there's definitely crit going on there 42% of the time, 7% of the time. But these boots perform really well. So that is very important to keep in mind. They do very well. The stamina noticed, I'm losing like 172. So if I swap off these, right now I have 412,000 HP. Swap off these to like this, I have 417,000. So I lose 5k HP, which isn't that big of a deal. Swap over to the shoulder guards now. Let me go into a little test. So we remember that the thorns at 401k, 7.9%. We're not going to meta this time. We're just going to go in natty and do it. So we'll reset. All right, I'm back from that. It was just my UI bugging out. But basically, we'll look at the damage breakdown here. We can see that Ever Decaying Spores didn't actually end up doing too much. They did 4.1%. Now, of course, it was a little bit less. It was about the same, actually, test duration as the other one. So we see these can also crit as well. So I actually crit these more. But the individual damaging events actually just do much less damage than the Thorn Boots. So I do think these are over-simming somehow. Unsure, because they are performing worse than the Thorn Boots are in a test. Now, of course, my gear is scuffed. Right, I don't have a neck. I'm only doing like one sim, which is one person. Sims do a bunch. But it looks like those are over-simming a bit. So for Vengeance, we're going to talk about these as well. Now, big shout out to Topple from the Vengeance Demon Hunter Discord, who supplied all the sims you're going to see, as well as like the recommendations. So we have 3 sims. We have a 1 target. Let me just double check the duration. We have a 1 target 5 minutes, 4 target 5 minutes, and a 6 target 40 seconds, as well as a 10 target 1 minute, which I'll throw up at the end there. I don't think I opened this one up. Anyway, so this is our 1 target. And we can see here, the Infurious Foot Wraps of Indemnity are back. However, these are, of course, over-simming, because it's just assuming you could proc them on CD, so we're not going to count that. We can see the similar story to Havoc. Toxic Thorn Foot Wraps, Spore Colony Shoulder Guards, and Toxic Armor Patch all perform very well. So the recommendation for Vengeance is that you're going to have 2 of 3 items, being the Toxic Thorn Foot Wraps, the Spore Colony Shoulder Guards, and the Toxic Armor Patch on your wrists, or I believe, yeah, on your Lifebound Bracers, which are a wrist slot. So there's definitely a few different things going on here. Now, Spore Colony might be over-simming, so it's important to keep that in mind. That's why I would also recommend crafting the Thorn Foot Wraps, because they also sim very well. They're also, I don't think I see... Okay, there's down here with the Toxic Armor Patch, but it is important to keep in mind that Spore Colony is over-simming for at least Havoc, so it might be as well for Vengeance. So do keep that in mind, or we're seeing some weird behavior there. But picking up 2 of these 3 items of Thorn Foot Wraps, Shoulder Guards, and Armor Patch will be very good for yourself. So moving on to the 4 target 5 minute sim, we see a similar thing. However, in AoE, Flare and Cowl does start to gain a good bit. Now, these Infurious Foot Wraps are going to do very well. Again, these are over-simming. It's just assuming it can proc the CD, the effect on CD, which you can't always do. And then we see that Toxic Thorn Foot Wraps and Spore Colony Shoulder Guards are coming in as Gen and being very powerful. Same with Armor Patch, same with Flare and Cowl. So all those items will end up being very good in AoE. As you go to bigger pull sizes, the Foot Wraps do better and better. But again, assuming they can be procced on CD, we see that Spore Shoulder Guards and Thorn Foot Wraps are again in the lead here, with Flare and Cowl and Toxic Thorn Foot Wraps, catching up a bit as we go higher and higher. So this is 6 target 40-second. And then finally, we have our 10 target 1 minute mass AoE pull. Furious Foot Wraps, again, ahead for everything. And then we see Toxic Thorn Foot Wraps and Spore Colony Shoulder Guards ahead, with Flare and Cowl and Thorn Foot Wraps slightly behind. So for Vengeance, you're going to probably want to end up crafting, again, like I said, 2 of these 3 items being Thorn Foot Wraps, Shoulder Guards, or the Armor Patch. And then if you do more AoE, Flare and Cowl can still be pretty good. It is important to keep in mind that does proc the Aeronog Ring if you're still using that. So that is going to be pretty good there. So Vengeance is going to like those items. I have them on my character here again. The Spore Colony Shoulder Guards, the Lifebound Belt with the Armor Patch, which should be on wrists for Vengeance. And then again, the boots. The stamina loss is not that big of a deal. I still have 715k stamina as Vengeance, and if I swap off it to this, I have 723. So it's not that big of a deal, but there can be some pretty big gains there for Vengeance as well. So it will be important to keep that in mind. Again, I do recommend crafting the boots first because we're unsure about the Spore Colony Shoulder Guards. They might be over-simming. They are for Havoc. We'll see if they are for Vengeance. So to end off the video, I'm going to give you a little bit of a crafting recommendation and talk about what I'm doing personally. So if you have no neck replacement, I would go get a neck crafted right away. Torque of Past Time. I would craft that with a spark if you have one. If you don't have a spark, dungeon grinding, rare farming, all that stuff can drop sparks. So go get one, I guess. I don't know. From there, we are getting a new Shadow Flame Spark on Tuesday, which will let you craft things at a higher item level. Now, I personally only have the 1 spark, and I don't feel like grinding out another one today. So I will be waiting till Tuesday to craft my Thorn Boots. But that is what I will be doing. I will be crafting Thorn Boots first, and then recrafting one of my items to the Toxic Patch. If you do have an item with an embellishment you need to remove, you can get this thing called Grifta's Magical Powder. I'll link it in the description. There's a vendor somewhere. I don't remember. It's at the top of a tower somewhere. But you can get it there, and it'll let you remove an embellishment, and then you can replace that with the Toxic Patch. But I will probably personally craft the boots first. I do think the shoulder guards are maybe a little bit sim baity, but even then, they also are looking pretty strong, but they have been performing well in testing. So personally, I'm going to craft my neck now. You can also craft the boots now if you have another spark. And then Tuesday with the new Shadow Flame Spark, I'll be crafting my boots. Now, there is the worry that maybe Blizzard will nerf them. I don't think they will personally because they just buffed them all. But we'll see. So if anything comes out Tuesday about how they're being nerfed, then you can hold off there. If you're not raiding Tuesday or this week at all, then you can hold off, craft your boots the next week. There is no rush, right? There's no new content this week. It's just for people who kind of want to get ahead of the curve there. Not ahead of the curve as an AUTC, but just get ahead of what people are doing. I just figured I'd put that out there. So, you can craft this week, you can craft next week. Really no big rush. We get 1 spark Tuesday, and then we'll get a spark every 2 weeks after that. So you will be able to eventually catch back up, even if you crafted the wrong item or they nerfed it or whatever. So anyways, that is going to be it for the video today. Again, big shout out to Bees, Remnant, all the other people who did Havoc Theory Crafting with Embellishments, as well as to Topple, who sent me all these sims for Vengeance Demon Hunter. And finally, shout out to Volton, because he asked me to, so there you go. That's your shout out, big homie, at the end of the video, but there it is. I came through. So leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Drop a comment down below which embellishment you're going to use, what you're going to end up doing, how you're crafting it. Do you think they're going to nerf something? Let me know. And if you really enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button or scroll down, click the link, become a channel member. Help support me to make more content, get some cool emotes and other rewards out of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll have videos throughout the week here. Probably going to be tier list week. So keep your eyes peeled for those. And then I will catch you guys later with the next video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. Peace.